Max taxes, max services, zero hope. Have you ever wondered what a socialist utopia would look like? Well, I tried making one in Cities Skylines II using the new Eastern Europe pack. The rules are simple. Get to a city of 50k population. Sounds easy, right? Wrong. Here's where it gets tricky. Our glorious supreme leader demands that we tax everyone at the maximum rate, 30%. That means no one's going to want to move in, and those who stay can barely even afford bread. But hey, at least public transport's free. On top of all that, our service budget needs to be maxed out at 150%. To give me a fighting chance here, these rules are only going to kick in when we reach Milestone 4, Grand Village. Oh, and I'll only be using assets from the Eastern Europe region pack, or vanilla. Do you think I can actually pull this off? Let's find out. Right then. For this challenge, I've downloaded a custom map for the map of Zaporizhia. Shout out if you're from Zaporizhia. There we go, looks like a strong name. Left-handed traffic, because God save the Queen. Natural disasters, because why not? And unlock all tiles as well, because having lots of land is literally the only thing up our sleeve right now. First thing I want to do is explore this map a bit. This was made by Scarpa00, and it comes with a custom dam, with roads and rails as well. It's a pretty cool map. So I got some roads down and laid out the residential and industrial areas. These are actually inspired by
micro-rayons,
or micro-districts if you don't speak Russian. The idea with these is to have all your services within walking distance for its residents. There we go, not too shabby. But before zoning, if I had any chance of surviving the socialist takeover, I knew I needed to create as many jobs as possible to attract new citizens. So I laid out a bunch of farming zones to help us grow as quick as we can. And I finally started zoning some houses. And just while I was settling into a nice little time lapse, clock's ticking, Grand Village was rapidly approaching, and I felt like I'd made no progress. People could not move in quick enough. So I kept expanding, hoping to make some progress. However, my money was in the toilet. I tried adjusting my taxes to incentivize people to move in. Then I realized something big. Much like being a sugar daddy, basically if I don't spoil these little guys, they're gonna leave me. And I wasn't wrong. I started doing everything I could to improve their happiness. And then we had one milestone left. Panic was starting to set in. I plopped down a small medical clinic to stop people complaining and got to work putting down mines for coal, metal and stone. And then, out of nowhere, my two brain cells worked together and created a brainwave. I reduced the industrial tax rate overall, but then increased it on the materials that we're already producing. And we're finally in the green. Things were looking up. Population was increasing, money was increasing, and happiness was decent. Wait, what's that noise? Uh-oh.
Congratulations, comrade. You have been liberated from the capitalists. Please tax your comrades accordingly. We will be watching.
Okay, I'm not very good at Russian accents. But the moment was finally here. I maxed out all taxes for residential, commercial and industrial, and put up all the service budgets as well to the max. I also tried turning down the service fees so that people would hate me less, and added a police station and some parks to improve happiness and well-being. I then got adding some oil industry and cotton industry which we'd just unlocked in the hopes of attracting new citizens. And then I waited and watched and prayed. But somehow, people were still moving in? Maybe it was something to do with 315 jobs? Okay, I think I found my strategy, covering the whole map in mines and putting my people to work. Am I creating a gulag in Cities Skylines? Anyway, no time for human rights, because we've got a fire. And I can't risk losing the citizens, so I bought a small firehouse. Thankfully, we are making a metric butt ton of money due to the high tax on all the specialised industries. Speaking of which, it was time for some more farms, but this time I was on the hunt for something specific. Boom, there we go. I wanted to unlock the industrial signature buildings because I knew that they would employ loads of people. Sadly, the dairy house only employed 85 people, but we got some nice buffs and it's a good start. Next, I thought it was high time to get some public transport going. All this cash was starting to burn a hole in my pocket. I thought that if people can get to their jobs easier, they might have more free time and be happier. Citation needed on that one, but I did have some fun following the buses around.
Enough fun, comrade.
Okay, yeah, you're right, sorry. Back to industrial expansion. I added in a mega stone mine within walking distance of the city, and that employed 438 people. That should keep us growing for a little while longer. I also got a train station plumbed in to help people move in easier, and also because I wanted to place this sexy looking asset. Plus, it was just enough experience to get us to Milestone 5, which unlocked telecommunications, and that could give us a nice buff to happiness. So, you already know what's about to happen. Is mailbox montage time? Smoke weed every day. That's got to be the worst montage anyone's ever made. Anyway, I built some pedestrian paths to my train station, and also unlocked the telecoms tower, which is making everyone happy, which is nice. However, about now, my game started stuttering big time. I've got a good PC, so I knew there'd be something in the game causing problems. My theory is it's something to do with the giant industry zones I've been putting down, which, if you didn't know, you can make them as big as you like using Anarchy. Some might say it's cheating, but not me. Either way, the stuttering was here to stay, and I was determined to crack on with the challenge. And things are looking pretty decent, besides the fact that we'd barely grown in the last 2 hours of gameplay. But I was about to change that. We tripled down on the specialised industry, adding more metal, forestry, cotton and livestock, and coal. And metal again. With all this resource exploitation, we'd unlocked our second industrial signature building, which I decided to put over by the stone mine, providing us with a cool 91 jobs and some tasty bonuses to our resources. It felt like things were really picking up, and we jumped up to 6k population in just a few weeks. I followed up with some more schools, which was enough to get us to Milestone 6. And with those progression points, I unlocked a gas power station, because we've already got loads of oil just lying around. Then, back to the signature building grind, and with a few more oil fields, we'd unlock the vehicle factory.
Hooray!
I figured I should make a dedicated signature building zone right next to the town. I put down the vehicle factory, which can employ a whopping 363 employees. And now I'd got a taste for it, I needed more signature buildings. The paper factory was in my sights. Now the paper factory was in my hands. I know just the space for it.
529 employees.
I celebrated this momentous day by upgrading our town hospital and building a park maintenance depot. Weird way to celebrate, I know. I also got to put down this cool new Eastern Europe post office. But one thing my Sims were complaining about was traffic, and the main offender was this junction here. So I slapped some red roundabouts in there and hoped for the best. I'm sure this would fix the problem.
Foreshadowing is a narrative device in which
My Sims also finally got round to complaining about trash piling up. So I finally got round to adding a landfill. I also hooked up a cargo terminal, hoping it might improve industrial efficiency. Then I decided to redo my bus routes. The one I put down initially was poorly designed and didn't cover any of the new areas. Most of our jobs were outside of town, where the resources are, in the countryside, so I decided to make 3 routes going from the town out to the industrial zones in the countryside and then back again. As you can tell, I was really starting to min-max sim happiness and well-being. And it was paying off. I added more parks, more schools, including this giant elementary school, giving us more than enough capacity. As I was fiddling around with Move It, I saw something growing. I didn't waste a second and adjusted the zoning here so that more residential could grow. Oh, and you remember that traffic problem? What have I done? Clearly the Soviet planners who built this place didn't think this through. Not me. But anyway, I'm building for utility, not for aesthetics. I realised here that I'd built too many traffic-heavy buildings along this road, like the bus terminal and 2 post offices. Whose idea was that? So, decided to move the post office into our new industrial district. But I was out of cash, so I cranked up the speed and enjoyed the chaos, and soon enough, the post office was no more. It's actually just on the other side of town. And while I was time-lapsing, we hit a population of over 10k. That's a fifth of the way there. So, I'm picking up the pace. I plonked down a giant wheat field right next to the town and zoned some more residential. I also unlocked the welfare office to improve the well-being of the many poor people who reside in Stalingrad. Even if they are poor, people somehow still want to move in. But I'd run out of space, so I got building some more micro-districts. And don't ask me how I broke the grid this badly. I had to move the industrial buildings to make space, which left a big stinky mess, and for some reason people didn't want to live there. Speaking of stinky buildings, I also got a coal power plant, which got us over to Milestone 8. Then I got back to zoning, and for once I couldn't actually keep pace with demand. I spent ages fiddling around with these zoning cells, all for just 5 buildings, but still needed more space. This starting grid was just not going to cut it. So I had to say adios to our new wheat field because we needed more room. And I slapped down another 6 3/4 micro districts. Surely this would be enough space, right? To help with traffic, I got a new highway intersection in, feeding right into the middle of our new neighbourhood, and also put down some new large parks. Finally, I was ready to zone, and we could get back to growing. We'd breezed through 20k population, and I was back to placing specialised industry. People were rapidly moving in, and money was rapidly moving into our bank account as well. 1.6 mil from oil, not bad for a town of 24k. To mix things up a bit, I did some more zoning, followed by a bit of zoning. And then, something actually interesting, I put down the Eastern Europe firehouse. Look at this thing, it looks like a preschool. No one was moving into the stinky spot though, I can't imagine why. Which means I'd run out of space.
Again!
Boop. Nearly there. And boop. That'll do. Look guys, you get the picture by now. Zoning mines. Zoning mines. But I did unlock the medical university, which also unlocks the pharma building. And placing both of these was going to attract loads of new people. Uh-oh, Soviet planners strike again. I squeezed in one last micro-district and then realised that most of the industrial buildings I zoned in at the start, they'd been abandoned, except for these 3 chads. So I made a bit of room for them. As we approached 50k, I had money to spare and was just having fun at this point. I put down a geological research centre, giving us a huge buff to oil and coal deposits. I also put down a central bank and a city hall, reducing our import costs and buffing our export profits. And also placed an incineration plant. Because why recycle plastic when you can just burn it, right guys? I was on the home stretch and decided to spruce things up a bit. Bad jokes aside, I think this place is looking pretty cool. I still had one more thing I wanted to complete. But, just quickly, if you made it this far then I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, you can show me by leaving a like and subscribing. And the moment was here. We made it to 50k!
Yay!
This challenge was actually really fun, and it was an interesting way to play the game as well. I'd encourage people to go out and try it. It could be an overpowered way to start your next city and make loads of money early on. Finally, I couldn't leave without placing the coolest Eastern Europe building, the Behemoth, the Disease Control Center. Look at this thing, it's epic. Wow! That's it from me today, I hope you've enjoyed. I'll leave you with a flyover of the city so you can check it out one last time.
Do svidaniya, comrade.